If you're not comfortable working with plumbing, I'd advise you to call a professional or somebody that knows what they're doing to help you. I got another job. So this is a vanity, the toilet, the vanity, and I'm going to replace it. So what I'm gonna do, first things first, to take it out, I'm gonna have to cut the water off, disconnect this, and then even after that, it's screwed right here. One screw, and I guess that's it. It's just that one screw. It doesn't appear to be connected anywhere else, just that screw. And it's like wedged in there, and it's wedged in on the other side. So I'm going to turn off the main water so I can disconnect that, and then I'm going to disconnect the drain pipes after I turn off the main water. So upon trying to take that screw out right there, the sink's in the way. So I have to cut this and cut that. And as you can see, it's moving, but I don't want to rip none of the drywall paper. And before I start this video, I just want to say you need gloves and caulk gun, 2 tubes of caulk. I got my level, I got my this is my circle for the pipes, so I can drill out the circles for the pipes, and this to cut the caulk, and I want to measure the pipes out so I can drill the holes, and then the putty for the drain, and my gun, screw gun. And I just bought this today, an oscillating tool, so you kind of like cut like this and it shakes. You can just cut through anything. So I just wanted to try it out. It's Warrior, so I guess we'll see how long it really lasts in some deep heat. And I bought some blades too, but I forgot to pick them in the van. So if I do need this to cut that right there, to cut it, because the vanity is a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna have to trim off a little bit. So that's when I'll be using this tool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, if I'm forgetting anything, you can watch the video and make sure that you have all the tools to complete the job before you do this job for your home. So now I'm going to cut this with the razor blade, and how I do it is right here, just cut into the wall, you know, and you kind of get everything. So I just wanted to make an update of the tools that I missed. The monkey wrench, and here are the oscillating tools. I think I might use this one because it has a wider blade and I'll get a straighter cut. But you know, they have this one as well for smaller things. I don't know when and where, but it's always good to have them. And then they have another one that's like just the tip of it's wide and this is skinny in the middle. But they all have their purposes, so I just have these two for now. So as you can see, I disconnected this, disconnected the plumbing. I put that right where I put it, right here. So that's all I disconnected. And then yeah, just cut this, and then I ripped it off. And what I'd like to do is, that's why I like this blade, because it comes out like that. And then I like to go like that and just trim everything off. You know, I want to make it look decent. You know, that way when the painters come in and they paint all of this, they don't have to sand it down very much. They can just do it real quick, sand it real quick, paint it. You know, just something to make their life easier. So I'm going to take care of that, and then I'll bring you back step by step. I have right here, when I was taking this off, remember this screw right here? I found another screw right here, because the reason why he put it right there is because he was worried about hitting the plumbing, and he probably didn't have a stud finder or something. See all the holes he drilled? That's dangerous if you don't have a stud finder, because you might hit a pipe or a drain pipe. But anyway, this is definitely wood in the corner of every wall. That's how they frame these walls out. And I guess he got lucky. The last time he screwed right here, he got a stud. So I'm going to try to duplicate that hole. But I'm going to take the screw out, and you see that it's already moving. So right after that screw, I'm going to take it out, and then I'm going to bring the other one in and measure it out and possibly cut these moldings and then fit it into place and screw it back up. And the plumbing, because this was an apartment complex, I couldn't turn off the main plumbing, so I just turned it off from here. I don't like to use these, but in this case I had to. So yeah, I'll bring you back up to date after I take everything out and put the new ones in and measure it out. And I'll show you how to measure this out to just come through just the pipes, you know, and not the, so I don't cut this out. I don't want to cut it out and you see all this ugly and everything, just the pipes. So I'm gonna take this off too, like that. So just the pipes come through. So I'm back. What it is that this is actually smaller. This, I can't show you now because it's a little tight in here, but this is what I'm doing. You know, I'm not doing that, but I'm just replacing the vanity in the sink. But it's kind of smaller, so now I don't have to cut this loading. I measured the center of the pipe from here and from there. So I did this 12, more or less 12, and then I did this. This was more or less 20. So I went like this and got 12, bam, right there. And then I went from the bottom and got 20, bam, right there. And that seemed to be more close. And I did the same thing for the hot water, the drain pipe, and the cold water. So it's not that hard. So I did it. How I did it was that I messed up a little bit, and I measured the beginning and the end and the bottom of the top of the pipe. Now you can do that, or you can just measure the center, because when you drill the hole out, it's just going to cover everything anyhow. So I did for the cold water, the hot water, and the drain. So I'm going to drill out the holes with the drilly thing. and we'll see how it turns out. So I'll cut it out, and as you can see, it really covered all the marks anyway. That's what I really wanted. I just like to know that the job is going to go correctly the first time. That's just who I am. But see, the lines are all covered anyway. And so what I'm going to do is I want to see this hole right here with the screw hole in it. I want to make sure that I get it. So I'm going to measure from the top and the bottom and see if I can see this hole that he drilled so I can get the stud. So I'll put it in. I've gotten the pipes, the hot and cold water pipes, calculated correctly, but for some kind of how this came out wrong. And then I forget where the first hole was. I think this is the second hole, and then I got that wrong. It's because the molding was in the way, and I didn't notice it. So, but it fits perfectly though. Right over there, it fits like that, which is not so bad. But what I did is, now it's in perfectly, and I'm going to use this screw hole the same way he had it, and I couldn't see the screw hole, so I put a mark, and I'm just going to pop a screw in right here. So, and yeah, so pretty much that's what I did. And I put 2 of these wedges under here. So as you can see right here, a wedge, and I put another wedge on the side. And I mean, the floor is pretty level, so it's pretty level the way it is now. And if that's not level, I'll show you another way to level the sink by putting a wedge underneath as well if it's not level. But in this case, it's level. Everything's perfect. And that's why I say, you know, measure twice, cut once. It's not a big deal. It still looks better than it did before, but measure twice, cut once. So I got a little ahead of myself, and well, you know that I screwed this and I screwed that over there. So what I did here is that I caulked all around. So before I even put the granite piece on, I took my caulk gun and I caulked all around. I put a bead of caulk, and the crack in the back of the, I kind of squeezed caulk down inside of it. I wish I would have remembered to show you, but I was rolling and I just got it done. So I kind of just caked it up. I put the tip of it in the corner and I squeezed it and I caked it up in between the wall and the counter itself. And then I put a nice bead on top underneath right here, a smaller bead, so I don't have stuff coming out on either side. And I continued the bead right here, and see how I did it right there? That way, if you don't have a lot, that way you can just run your finger across, you know, and just make it look really nice. So that's what I did. Now this is kind of harder to make look nice, so I just left it the way it was. You know, it didn't bleed through, so see how it's contacted. So now I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to continue to put the faucet in. And this is the faucet that I'm using. The name of it isn't on here, but this is the faucet right here. It's a 3-handle faucet, hot, cold. It's labeled cold. You can get it from anywhere. I think it has the order number on here. I'm gonna continue to put it on. So first things first is I got this. I'm gonna take this off and retract the screws, because how it's gonna work is you're gonna spin this on and then you screw the screws in and it makes it tight. Just so this isn't spinning, you know what I mean? It's nice. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna take you under and I'm gonna show you everything. See, this has it too, so you're gonna retract the screws and then screw it on tight enough, and then you screw the screws in and it makes it tighter. And it's really nice, and I'm gonna show you how to do the plumbing as well. Hoping that the plumbing matches up with the other plumbing, because I don't feel like cutting stuff, and so we'll see what happens with that. So I don't like these faucets because, see, you have to plug them in there. Some faucets are already plugged in. So this is a little bit different, this one, because of, I don't know how the holes go, but these screw into this, and these actually have heads to where you can make them a little bit tighter, but the double washer thing is proven to be, you know, tight even if you finger tighten them, but I like to snug them up. So what you would do is put these in here, and then you're gonna attach this to the hot or the cold, and then these are gonna come out of the hot or the cold, and they're color coded. And I'll show you after I'm done. I'll put these in here first. Now I have this. I wanna pop this piece into that, but after the fact I feed it through the hole like this. I'm gonna feed them both through the hole like this, and try not to move the sink that much because it's curing, it's drying. What I used for the sink was, I just used this latex dry. You know, it's not glue, but if you put enough of it, it'll act like glue. It'll act like a suction cup once it dries, and you're not going to move this. So this is good stuff. And I just have a cheap old plastic, you know, and what I did is I cut it sideways, so down here to up here, so it's like a point. And just to show you, I can show you right here, I cut it like that, and I just caulked it. But anyway, put this in here, and then I took these off, so these are the same way. You're gonna put it on here and then screw it up, and it's gonna make it tight. But you put hot is always here, hot, put hot, and then I have cold, so I put the cold right here, and then there you go. We plug in the black to that and that, and you really want to put these in first. So I'm going to take the cold, right, and I'm going to put the cold with the cold in here, because the black ones that come out of here that we just put on are pretty much snap-ons, so you would just snap it on. See the lip? So I'll put that on, and then I'll tighten it with this, and I'll take you guys under after I'm done. So I'm going to show you why these, the way they have these set up is so nice, is because I can tighten it down. I mean, you can still move it. You know, if you really wanted to, you could move it to adjust it, but see, if I wanted to, I could move it to adjust it. But it's so tight to where I can open it and close it at the same time and make sure that everything is straight and perfect. And then when I go under there to use the screw gun to screw them screws on each side, it's just going to make it super tight, and I'm not going to have to worry about it spinning out of control, you know. Then I come up and this is over here and it's so tight I can't put it back over here, or I do, but then it loosens it. So you have to get the right faucet. Some faucets are cheap, but some faucets make up for it in different ways, but that's not the point in this video. And then I'm going to tighten this up right now. So see, these are the clickers. So basically what I'm going to do is click this in right here, you know, and you'll hear it. Now press the button, and if it doesn't come out, then you know you did it wrong. But you see here, you gotta do that and put it in right. So that's that. I'm gonna try to do it better, but you see this right here? I'm gonna screw these up and screw this up just so it's really tight and it doesn't spin while I'm trying to mess with this piece. And then I'm gonna hook the hot water to the hot water and the cold water to the cold water, but make sure all the pieces, make sure the washer's inside, just so it will guarantee a good seal. So I hooked it up, the hot and the cold, and that's the way it always should be. On the left is the hot, the right is the cold. And I screwed them 2 screws on here. I screwed the 2 screws on here and 2 screws on here, but be careful, because what I did was that this thing, the bowl came up, it flopped up, so luckily that wasn't dry. So, but even if it was dry a little bit, you know, it kind of broke the seal. But what can I do? But hope that it isn't fragile now and it dries good. So now, you know, that's not leaking. So I turned the water on just so I can just have it on, just to have it on to see if it leaks or not. And this is the final product for that. So now I'm just gonna put this in. So I'm gonna do the drain now. And this kind of just slid out, so I'm just gonna kind of slide it back in, you know. Or maybe I'll just get the flathead. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm just gonna get the flathead and kind of unloosen it so I could ensure a good seal. And I'm gonna put it all back up. And when I put this in, like the ring around the inside right here, right there, is going to be right here. And I'll show you. I put some of this plumber's putty. I don't know if I put it in the video or not, but I have to use this. And for the most part, I use it for the bottom too. Even though this has a washer, you know, I just put a ring on the bottom just in case. You can feel around here, and if there's any imperfections, sometimes the washer doesn't squeeze far enough to get inside that indentation. So I just use it anyway, just to use it. You can see it in the camera. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. But to guarantee 100%, you know. and this has that. And I mean, as much as the washer goes, you know, I mean, it just makes me feel like, should I use it? Because some of them don't have this, and I use that, and that kind of creates the washer. The plumber's putty, I did not use it on this application. What I'm doing now is I'm just tightening it up, and this is all one piece, so I'm kind of holding this and turning this at the same time. But it is plastic, so be careful not to strip one of the threads out. Now, if you don't have that washer, everyone has a washer on the bottom, but on the top, if you don't have the washer on the top, then you're going to want to use plumber's putty. But since this gave me the option with the washer on the top, I'm not going to use plumber's putty. I'm just going to take my chances and do what they want me to do and not use it. So I'm holding this and I'm spinning this with the other hand, to kind of make it snug. And then I'm going to keep everything loose until I get it set. See, this raises. So I'm going to raise it that high, and then I'm going to get the nut, wherever that nut is for this. And then I'm going to put the nut on here first. Put the nut on first, and then put this in, and then kind of screw all that together. And you'll see what I'm talking about after I'm done. Just make sure everything's snug. I tightened everything down. I held this, I tightened that, everything's tight, you see everything. But it's not, it's gonna be, all this is doing is the washer's inside, and it's crimping the washer just so it can flow, the water can flow. It's this one right here that you wanna make sure is the tightest, because this is the one that's set, you know, to hold water. The water fills up to here because of this, but this and this, they're just flowing. So you want to make sure they're tight enough, but this one is the one you really want to do. You want to make sure they're all tight, but they're not going to be tight enough to where they're just tight and you can't move them. So don't try to tighten it, over tighten it and break the thread. But see, I tightened this up back here. So for those of you that don't know how to use plumber's putty, I wanted to show you how I would use it if I did use it. So first of all, I'd pull it out like Play-Doh, like this, and just, it's kind of messy, but it works when you put it all together and you compress it. So you want to rub both your hands together, you know, and kind of, you know, like how you would do it, play with Play-Doh. It's the same thing. You rub both your hands together. I only have one hand right now, so you rub your hand together, both your hands together, and you kind of get this, like Play-Doh do. And you want to make it as thick as you desire it to be. Like this thick is pretty good. I like to overuse it because it's cheap, and you want it to make it like, see, like this is very thin, so you don't want that. So you can just kind of make it into a ball again and go like that, and then you will go around, say this is the faucet, this right here, and then you would go around the faucet, around the bottom of the drain where I said there was a washer. Sometimes they don't have washers, and you go around it all the way around, and then when you put the drain inside of the sink, underneath the lid will be this, and then you will kind of twist it under the sink, and then this will kind of want to squeeze out of the sides like a pancake, and whatever stays underneath, it creates the washer. Pretty much from old to new. So pretty easy. You know, I didn't have to cut the molding because it was shorter, but I would have just measured it out and cut it with the oscillating tool anyway. So basically, here goes nothing. That's hot, and this is cold. So what I like to do is fill it up, because this doesn't have a hole in it. Normally there's a hole right there, and I like to fill up and make sure it runs through, but I still like to fill it up and make sure it's not leaking through here. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. This definitely is not leaking, you know? No leaks, because I would be able to tell by now it would be leaking, you know? And this is cold, so don't be discouraged, because condensation builds up. So basically here, I'm gonna let the water down, and it doesn't appear to be leaking anywhere. So the water's going down, as you can see, and I'm gonna keep it running for a bit and see if there's any leaks. This stuff's really easy nowadays because you don't really need Teflon tape and putty, only on certain applications. If there's no washers, then this will act like a washer. The Teflon tape acts like a washer, and they still use stuff like that, but it's changing. Everything's changing. So I'm gonna keep it running for a bit, see if it leaks, see if I can get any wetness to come out. If not, then I'm done. And she said that she'll put the handles on, so I'm done.